stand by for action.
Thanks, Tony. My name's Dave Miller. I am the Unpleasant Blind Guy. I want to start out by thanking Becky C., that's Sweden G, on the Twitter, for kind comments about the last show. And I want to give a shout out to Furry Stoat, a true friend of the Red Eye Twitter crew, for keeping us all informed on the latest regarding practice theory. Furry Stoat turned us all on to an article which I will be putting up on UBG Contact on the Twitter, along with all of the other things that I put up in regard to this show, and that's also the place where you can contact me with questions, comments, awesome American suggestions, and other things like that. Now, there have been some details in this case. Mainly, we found out that the accused is 17 years old, and that his main concern, as he was relating the details of the murder to his friends, was that David Peterson's cell phone, for which he had killed him, was an older model. He was disappointed in that. He showed no remorse at killing Mr. Peterson, only that he had killed him for an older model cell phone. Now, other details: Office Depot, where David Peterson worked for a year and a half, have been less than charitable with his widow. As a company, Office Depot did not send flowers to Mr. Peterson's funeral, nor did they offer a condolence call or send a card. Now, this is Office Depot, folks. I think they can come up with card stock, and I think they probably have a few printers and some ink lying around. This lack of response to the murder of someone who had worked for them is the very sort of thing that makes progressives jump up and down and scream about corporate insensitivity to the people. It's the sort of thing that makes Office Depot look bad and makes business look bad. So, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but what I'm going to do is, if I need any kind of office supplies for quite some time, I'm going to find them someplace other than Office Depot. Now, I also want Seeley to know that we are thinking of you. You are in our thoughts, and you're in our prayers. Now, other things happened last week in regard to David Peterson's murder, but these were far more pleasant. Practice Theory's friends in the Small G Gay Report community and in the Red Eye community really did like him quite a lot. And I was speaking to Deirdre Gross, who is not only a part of the Red Eye community on the Twitter, but also a loyal listener to this program. And she was talking about how she still felt pretty bad about Practice Theory's not being with us anymore, and wanted to do something. Now, this was Wednesday afternoon. So, Deirdre decided that Thursday morning at 3 o'clock, when Red Eye came on, and everyone piled in there to do the live tweet, that we would all use the hashtag lemurlife. Now, this is because Practice Theory used a ring-tailed lemur as his avatar on his Twitter account. So, a lot of us got ring-tailed lemur pictures ourselves and changed our avatars to ring-tailed lemurs. And during that night of Red Eye, we live-tweeted with the hashtag lemurlife. We all enjoyed ourselves, and we remembered and honored Practice Theory for the good and fun guy that he was. But it didn't end there. By the Friday morning Red Eye program, the Red Eye crew themselves had decided, I believe, to recognize Practice Theory, because at the start of the show, they showed video of ring-tailed lemurs jumping around and that sort of thing. Sort of their way of recognizing the devotion that their fans had to one of their own. And I asked Sherrod Small, who is a frequent guest on Red Eye, who has hosted the show, to please convey to those in charge of Red Eye how much we appreciated everything. He said he would do that, and I believe him, and I want to thank Sherrod for that. Find Sherrod not only on Red Eye, but on Race Wars and on about 67 other shows. I'm sure if you follow Sherrod Small on the Twitter, you'll find out what those shows are. Again, thank you, Sherrod. All of this was very helpful and cathartic for Practice Theory's friends from the Red Eye Twitter crew. We still miss him very much, and he will not be forgotten. Now I want to talk about something very cool and hopeful. Let me give you a headline. NASA eyes ambitious mission to Jupiter's icy moon Europa by 2025. This is an article by Mike Wall, a senior writer for Space.com, and it was published on the 5th of March. NASA hopes to launch a mission to the Jupiter moon Europa, perhaps the solar system's best bet to host alien life a decade or so from now. This was announced by officials on Tuesday, March the 4th. The White House's 2015 federal budget request allocates $15 million to help develop a mission to Europa, which harbors a potentially life-supporting ocean of liquid water beneath its icy shell. Europa is a very challenging mission, operating in a really high radiation environment, and there's lots to do to prepare for it, NASA Chief Financial Officer Beth Robinson told reporters Tuesday. We're looking for a launch sometime in the mid-2020s. The $15 million, which represents a tiny fraction of the $17.5 billion allocated to the space agency in the 2015 request, would fund very early pre-formulation work for a potential Europa mission, Robinson added. I know people have asked about the total size of the possible mission, and we're frankly just not sure at this point, she said, adding that agency officials will reach out to the scientific community to help map out the mission. Though the 2015 proposal marks the first time Europa was included in a federal budget request, NASA has received funding to study a possible mission to the 1,900-mile-wide moon in the past. Congress allocated the space agency a total of $155 million toward this end over the last 2 years. Those statements by Robinson and other NASA officials suggest that the Europa mission space is wide open at this point. The best candidate to get off the ground in 2025 or so may be a concept called the Europa Clipper. NASA researchers have been developing the Europa Clipper idea for years. The probe would orbit Jupiter, but make dozens of flybys of Europa using a variety of science instruments to study the moon's ice shell and subsurface ocean. The Europa Clipper could conceivably cruise through the plumes of water vapor erupting from the moon's south pole. Intriguing features that were discovered late last year and have helped build momentum for a Europa mission, since they offer a possible way to sample the ocean from afar. I'll do a sidebar here, folks, just to say that, yes, this does prove that there is actual liquid water in existence somewhere else in the solar system, and yes, there could potentially be life there. Now back to the story. It would probably cost about $2 billion to get the Europa Clipper off the ground, officials have estimated. That's a pretty high price tag in these tough fiscal times, so some rethinking may be required to take the Clipper or something like it from concept to reality. The Europa Clipper is what we would call a flagship, and right now the budget horizon is such that we're deferring that kind of mission until later in the decade, Jim Green, head of NASA's Planetary Science Division, said in December at the annual fall meeting of the American Geophysical Union in San Francisco. All right, they did call it. That's a lot of money to spend to send a robot probe around one of Jupiter's moons to take pictures. So why do it at all? Well, there will never ever be a time when money allocated for NASA cannot be used elsewhere. In my view, it is a better expenditure to go and potentially look for life elsewhere in our solar system than it is, for instance, to allocate that same money to the Muslim Brotherhood, or to spend it on things like shrimp running on treadmills. In other words, the government throws away a lot of money that we don't have right now. And I think a better use of much of that money would be in this kind of research. But there's more to it than that. The mission to Europa, and indeed all of our other space missions, are about our human curiosity, and they're about hope. Human beings have always wanted to know what's out there. What's on the other side of that hill? What's in that valley? What can we go to and lay our eyes on? What can we learn? People believe that there is life outside of Earth. Whether you go for the pseudoscientific law of averages argument, which says that there are billions of stars and that the Earth cannot be the only place that there has ever been life, or whether you're a believer and you maintain that God would not have put life on only one planet in his magnificent universe, we have the belief that there is life elsewhere. And confirmation of that belief would give us hope. And right now we have many things out there going on to diminish our hope, to diminish our belief in our fellow human beings, and even sometimes in ourselves. So this kind of exploration would give us a badly needed boost in the area of hope. That's it for this time. I appreciate you all very much. Thank you for listening, and may your God go with you. Goodbye.